Welcome to the Innovation Station Engineering Design Experience. My name is Garcia, and I am excited to work and guide you through our engineering design process. Throughout this process, you'll learn how to identify a problem and create a solution. We'll go through this process by learning to ask really good questions, imagining what are some possible solutions for the problem identified, and then the solution that we could attach with it. Then we'll build up or create an outline for an idea with the materials you already have at home. Then we're going to create and assemble what that outline was. And lastly, we'll go through the process where whatever it is that you make, we'll go through the possibilities of seeing what we could improve. Are you ready to join us? All right, let's move forward. I am so excited to be working on this part of the project. We'll be using what's known as the engineering design process. This graphic organizer will allow us to share our thoughts and ideas in sequence, as well as keep us moving forward as we create that device. Also, I want to make sure that you know that you have access to this graphic organizer. Within our website, you'll see a link where you'll be able to download it and print it out at home. However, if you do not have access to a printer, no worries. You can access the document and create a digital copy and complete it online as well. All right, let's keep moving forward. As we look at one of the problem cards from our innovation station, we'll identify a problem or challenge that is relevant and important in our society right now. All right, let's go ahead and read what the problem card is telling us. As we look at the problem card, it'll be important to recognize some text features. We will see that we are focused on the category of health and wellness. The main focus of health and wellness is to recognize that in order to live a healthy lifestyle, one must eat well, be active, and take care of their body. However, doing this can be very challenging for people. Two of the most difficult challenges that people face include eating well and taking care of their body. All right. Now, what we're looking at now is at two different problems. All right. You see problem number one and problem number two. Those are the text features that are highlighted in bold, letting us know that we have two problems to select from. Now, for the sake of what we're facing right now within this current challenge in society, we're going to go ahead and look at problem number two, because I feel like this one's going to hit home, and at the same time, I want to see how creative all of you guys are in order to figure out what kind of solution we could create. Now, let me go ahead and read problem number two. It says this: there are many different types of medical devices available to help people monitor their health at home, such as blood pressure machines, respiratory equipment, etc. However, some of these devices are not as effective as the ones that are available at the doctor's office or hospital and cannot perform all the same functions. All right, so we've identified our problem. The next part we're going to read is what's known as the engineering challenge. All right, I want you guys to focus on that part because we're going to look at something in a few moments that's going to be very essential to know this. Let me go ahead and read what the engineering challenge says. Select an existing medical device that is used at home and redesign it to be able to work more effectively or to do more than it could do before. Then create a prototype that shows how this new device would work. All right, now we're going to be ready to move on and see how we're going to fill this in within our graphic organizer. Now, just as a little reminder, at any given point in time, if you need to pause this video to write something down, to follow the directions that we're giving you, go ahead and pause it and then come back and push play. All right, I will let you know at times that we need to pause, but at times if you feel that you need to pause it, please feel free to go ahead and do that. All right, let's move on to the problem and the solution. Your graphic organizer should have a problem solution box right at the top. In order to complete that problem section, we'll have to dive into a 6th grade standard that you need to become an expert at. And the standard is to be able to explain the gist of a paragraph, an excerpt, or any readings you may have come across. So for the problem portion, I would like for you to write down the gist of what the paragraph reads for problem number two. Go ahead and pause this video for about 4 minutes and complete it. Once you have finished, then come back and I'll show you how to complete the solution. Welcome back. All right, now notice that there's a second part that we need to complete. It is entitled solution. However, right underneath solution, there is a clear description and it says engineering challenge. So on that little box, solution and engineering challenge right on the bottom. What I would like for you to do is now look at where problem number 2 is located and look where it says engineering challenge right underneath that. So here's the easiest thing, hopefully, that you'll ever do in your entire 6th grade career. I want you to copy down that engineering challenge exactly word for word. We say verbatim, the way you see it on your graphic organizer, so that engineering challenges need to match up. I'm going to give you guys about 2-3 minutes, so I want you to pause the video, and then we'll move forward, and we'll see if our problem and solution match up, all right? All right, I'll see you in a few moments. Remember, as long as you wrote the gist down for the problem, you follow the directions. For the engineering challenge, it should be the exact words that we found within our problem cards. It is important to recognize and stay focused throughout the entire problem, hence why it is important to write down the gist of the problem and the engineering challenge. It'll help keep us focused on what we need to accomplish. All right, let's go ahead and move to our first step now of the engineering challenge. All right, you should have your graphic organizer ready to go. Now, as we look at the bubble that says ask, there's a few things I want you guys to consider. First off, consider answering the question, what are some things that you're wondering about? The questions can be as vague or as specific as possible. I want you to use a sentence frame and graphic organizer to complete it. In a moment, you're going to pause the video and write down at least 3 things that you're pondering and asking yourself about the project. All right. Welcome back. Now that you've asked yourself the questions, I'd like to introduce to you a concept known as the Internet of Things, or IoT. Now, before we watch a video that I'm about to show you guys, I want you to consider what are some possible quote-unquote smart devices you have at home. There's a reason why I'm bringing up the term smart. The video will further explain what the connection between IoT and smart have to do. But I want you to consider this. What makes a device smart? I would like to invite our friends from the Qualcomm ThinkABit Lab and the production team from UCSD TV to explain more of what the Internet of Things looks like. I want you to go ahead and watch this video.
IoT, or the Internet of Things. Now, you all know probably what the Internet is. It's what we use to research and to watch videos and to go on websites. But what is the Internet of Things? Well, these are things that are connected to the Internet. Now, you might think automatically of phones or tablets, computers. These are all things that connect to the Internet. But moving forward, we're connecting all sorts of new things to the Internet. You've probably heard a lot of people using the term smart. Smart things. Smart homes, smart cities, smart watches. What does smart mean in terms of smart things? Well, these are all part of the Internet of Things. And the smart simply means that they are connected. Now, they might be connected via Bluetooth, so they're connected to your phone, and they can send data to your phone and receive that data so that everything can be connected and talk to each other. They might be connected via Wi-Fi or via 4G, or coming up next, 5G. And so today, you're going to get the opportunity to research the Internet of Things here at Qualcomm and what Qualcomm is working on in the area of Internet of Things, and also to design your own new invention involved with the Internet of Things. So you're going to get to create some new thing or take something that is old and make it even better by adding Internet to it or enhancing what's already there. Qualcomm is currently focused on 4 categories of IoT: consumer electronics, smart cities, smart homes, and voice and music. Let's go a little bit deeper into each category. First up is consumer electronics. You are the consumer, and all the things that you use that have the Internet in them are part of the Internet of Things. This includes things like drones, robots, cameras, and I think everybody's favorite, video games. Have you ever played a video game with someone in a different state, maybe even a different country? This is possible because of the internet, and it's part of our Internet of Things. Next up is smart cities. Smart cities includes things like cars, buses, trains, infrastructure, all these things that make our cities smarter. They help alleviate traffic and can hopefully make our commute a little easier. Our next category is smart homes. This includes things like smart appliances, maybe a refrigerator, a stove, the oven, or even your washer and dryer are connected to the internet. It could also include things like your lights. So you're able to walk into your house and say, "Alexa, turn on the lights," and your lights turn on. That's part of the Internet of Things. Voice and music includes all the things that we use to listen to the music that we love. This might be Bluetooth speakers, it might be Bluetooth headphones, it might be just the things that we use to communicate to others. So everyone's favorite new example are the smart little pods that we have in our home. This might be Alexa or a Google Home, all those things where we can talk to those devices. They actually understand what we're saying, can answer our questions or do what we ask and respond to us. And all those things are connected to the internet. They are part of our Internet of Things. So, as you probably know by now, Qualcomm is a company of inventors. We are constantly inventing new things, specifically in the area of IoT and 5G. Today, you're going to become an inventor. So, we've got 4 categories of IoT, and likely one of those stood out to you. Maybe it was 1, 2, or even 3 that you're really interested in. We want you to work with a team and start to think about one of those areas of IoT and a new invention that you can create to add to our Internet of Things. Take a look at some examples of projects that students have created in our lab that relate to the Internet of Things. Now keep in mind, none of these projects are actually connected to the internet, but they are great representations of these students' ideas. We hope you enjoyed learning about Qualcomm and the Internet of Things, and that you were inspired by your new creation and your new thing that's connected to the internet. Remember that every new invention starts with just a little idea.
All right, now that we've learned about the Internet of Things and how it connects to what we know as smart devices, I'd like to give you a chance to answer the following question. How will our device become smart? How will we make it a smart device? So, what I'm going to have you guys do in a moment is I'm going to have you pause the video for about 1 or 2 minutes, and you're going to answer that question. Once you've answered that question, see if you can share your idea with a parent or someone there at your home. All right? All right, let's go ahead and think about how our devices would become smart. All right, now that you have your smart idea down, I'd like for you to complete and answer this question. What are some possible solutions to our problem? Please use the sentence frame in the graphic organizer to complete it. Pause the video and then come back to push play once you're done. All right, we're back now, and now we're going to move to our next phase, which is known as plan. We're going to go dive right into the part where we can start building the process and creating a final sketch. As we come up with this sketch, don't focus too much on what materials you might need. We're going to take care of that on the next step of our plan, okay? But what I would like for you to do first is this. I want you to use a sentence frame and graphic organizer to complete, and then draw your sketch on the bottom. So go ahead and pause your video again, and then come back once you finish drawing your entire process, all right? Welcome back again. Now, on your graphic organizer, I want you to look at the question that reads, what materials might we need? Now, this is where our creativity comes in, because this is the moment where you're going to have to brainstorm and think to yourself, what do I have available here at home? Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause and write down a list of household materials that you can use to make your project. Before you write down your list, be sure to ask your parents or a responsible adult at your home for permission to use the materials. You can use a list located on this video to give you a head start, but you'll have to think critically for the more precise types of materials you may need. Hey, you never know. What could you find in your junk drawer? I'm going to go ahead and ask you to go ahead and pause the video and start making your list. All right, we are here. We've made it to the part where you get to start building the health device that you've thought about and designed. As you get ready to build your device, take all the time you need. However, please come back to this video because the last step is actually where the real learning begins. However, for now, go ahead and pause the video and start building the first phase of your project. Welcome back. So, what did you make? What was your design? I would love to hear about it. So, would you do me the favor and present your project on Flipgrid? How does that sound? The link will be located on the instructional page of our Engineering Design Project tab of our website. This next part, though, that I really want you to think about and consider and possibly even dive right back into, is to think to yourself, what changes would you make to your design? I'm talking about the improving part. So, I want you to use a sentence frame to support your thoughts and explanation based on whatever it is that you built or whatever it is of how it works. I would. How would you improve it? Imagine if we had a world where things were not improved. What if we just stuck with the iPhone 1? What if we were just playing with the same PlayStation 1 that I was introduced when I was in 6th grade? And there wouldn't be any PS4s or anything beyond the Xbox. No Xbox 360 or Xbox Ones. What if these things never existed? So it's very important to always consider, how do we improve things? So I would love to hear about your project and your experience on our Flipgrid link. Great work, and I will see you now on Flipgrid.